Hey, mate, say, mate, stop that cat. Y'all better stop capping real quick, man. Now, the other day, I did a video about Errol Spence Jr., and it was mostly well received. Errol Spence Jr. posted some recent pictures, so I did an Ego Weight Watchers video, right? AKA Ew. Errol looking in shape. However, some people didn't agree with your boy Ego, so here we are for the Ego thoughts. Now, I made a comment in the video basically saying that Errol did things backwards, right? Meaning he was in a ruthless car crash, could have claimed his life, let alone ended his career. And he came back pretty quick, like considering the magnitude of the crash and considering when he fought Danny Garcia, right? And Danny Garcia and Errol Spence were in the ring together after the Sean Porter fight. That had been a plan to put it by Super Bowl weekend. Obviously, for those that don't remember, Errol Spence beat Sean Porter. I was at that fight live, covered it as Credential Media. And shortly later, like a short time later, is when he got in a crash. So celebrating too hard or whatever, right? But if you remember, they had Danny Garcia pull up, and the plan was Errol Spence was going to fight Danny Garcia next, which he did. But the thing is, it was decided before he had even gotten a car crash, henceforth why Danny was in the ring with Errol Spence. But Errol, being a man of his word, he stuck to that. And I don't even think Danny Garcia himself would feel a type of way if Errol Spence went through that car crash and then said, yo, I got to come back with something lighter. I need me a tune-up first, right? I think that was very reasonable. But Errol Spence chose not to do that for whatever reason. So fast forward to the future, he beat Danny Garcia, beat Ugas, came up against Terrence Crawford. That was a bridge too far. You know, car crashes, inactivity, injury. Plus, Crawford is a great fighter. Too much. It was too much on the given night. Errol Spence lost. So he's been kind of MIA since that point. And again, a lot of people understood it in my first video. Some people were playing games like, oh, Errol owes it to the fans to let us know what's up. The internet done got y'all fooled. I don't know who needs to hear this, but it is apparent that some of y'all need to hear this. To make these statements that I see from fans, it's like almost makes me feel you're not even a fan. Like, if you're a real fan of a fighter or a person or a celebrity, right? Wouldn't you want the best for them? Right? So, like, I feel like people too often, they let their own personal, like, selfish ways get in the way, and they end up saying stuff that to me doesn't make sense. Errol Spence does not owe anybody anything in terms of when he comes back or even if he wants to come back. That's completely on him. Completely on him. So I think it's reckless that fans are saying, yo, you've been out the ring too long. It's been counting the days. Bro, I just went over it. He came back sooner than most. Like, let's be real, bro. These boxers are tough. There's a lot of people who they can't even make it to work after a night out drinking. Something that they chose to do. They chose to drink and poison their body, and then they call in sick to work because they feel like crap, right? Meanwhile, these fighters, they're out here risking their life. Errol went through a car crash, and he's still keeping his promises. Like he said, I'll come back for Pacquiao Ugas winner. He fought the winner, which was Ugas. He said, I was going to fight Danny Garcia despite the car crash. It took longer, but he still fought him his first fight back. He's like, I ain't doing no tune-up. So I don't feel like Errol Spence owes anybody anything. And I said that, and I'm going to keep saying that. You guys sound stupid sounding off in the comments saying that Errol owes it to the fans. Of course, okay, fans care. They want to know what your next move is, but these fighters don't owe anybody anything. You know what I mean? Especially a guy like Errol Spence, blood, sweat, and tears. He went over to the UK, beat Kell Brooks, so basically, right? And I just think it's absurd that people are really out here saying that somehow, some way, Errol Spence needs to inform them of his next move. If Errol Spence, and my thing is this, I also look at it as like Errol Spence is himself. So if anybody knows what's best for him, it's probably his family and his friends and himself. He knows how he feels. He knows how his mentality is. He's the one that incurred the loss. So who are we from the sideline to be like, nah, come back? And I think that's the selfish nature of boxing fans. Even Jermall Charlo, who's getting ready to come back this weekend, right? He obviously has some going on in his life where he felt he needed all that time off, or his life was a mess, or whatever was going on. And boom, it took until the Jose Benavidez fight for him to come back. And then he took a little bit more time off. And now he's just now coming back in the mix. So I don't think the fans understand how hard it is to be a boxer. You know, life after boxing, when you're no longer a champion, people forget about you, stop calling you, stop. When you're popping, then you're popping. Everyone trying to get tickets to your shows and all that. And I think the human side of it is what a lot of content creators and boxing fans miss out on. So me, I respect the game too much, so I'm not going to let that be me. I know a lot of fighters. I've been in the game. Boxing has changed my life. So at the end of the day, I can't be the one that advocates for stupid stuff. And Errol Spence, he can come back whenever he wants. You heard it first from Boxing Ego. Church. Live streaming can be tough, which is why I use StreamYard. Click the link in the description for StreamYard, which is an awesome tool that enables you to set up your stream with ease of use. Get great results with live streaming. It's what I use. Stream to social media with ease with StreamYard. Live streaming is here to stay. Engage with your audience using StreamYard. Great way to reach out to your audience and connect. So you need a tool that can do that. If you're new to YouTube and you're struggling to get views, one tool I can provide to you is TubeBuddy. I've been on YouTube over 10 years. I use TubeBuddy daily to crank out videos just like this one that you're watching. Learn how the pros do it with TubeBuddy. YouTube receives a lot of traffic, which also means a lot of creators, a lot of people putting out content. So you need to learn the ropes so you know how to separate yourself, especially if you're new. But even if you're a pro, use TubeBuddy. The link is in the description. Get more views, more subscribers, and a higher click-through rate, so ultimately you can realize all of your online goals. Use my affiliate link in the description and grow your channel fast.